Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So today I'm going to bring you a notebook, and I saw this. Julie from Camellia Crafts made this she used some tin Holtz paper, and it was all very vintage and all very lovely. And I'm going to make it in some nice bright cherry paper, just so see what it looks like. I will link to Julie's video down below so you can go and take a look at what she made. But I've used some retired Stampin' Up! Celebration paper here to make this. I thought this was pale papaya, but it's not. It's pale pink, but this is pale papaya ribbon, but hey ho. So yeah, so it's just a little notebook. It is, where's my ruler? It measures, I didn't write this down, so it's 5.5 that way, and it's 5 1/4 that way, so it's not quite square, and it uses one sheet of 12 by 12. And at this time of year, with a Stampin' Up! Catalogue retiring, I'm using up paper, so I loved it. So I've been scouring for projects for using up paper. So it's just a notebook. So we've got a little pocket in there in the cover, which I just put a little tag in, and the same in the back cover, another one there. I've cut that slightly, needs trimming, and then you've got a pocket on the back cover and a pocket on the front cover, and then I just put some paper in there to make a notebook. So I'm going to count these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I cut 8 sheets down, and because of the size, I did use a whole sheet per. I couldn't get 2 pages out of one because of the size of these sheets. And I'm looking at my instructions, and I haven't written down the size of these sheets, but I will measure them, and then I'll know. And this is really nice paper. It's 120 GSM, and it's called laid paper. I got it because I thought they would make nice notebooks. And I don't know if you can see, there's like a vertical line going down it. Quite like it. So yeah, so we're going to make one of these. I'm going to put that over there to remind myself, and I'm going to make this with this sort of rainbow. So this is from the Sweet Talk paper. We've got hearts on that side, but it's really, this is better done with a non-directional paper, because I couldn't have this on the outside, because on the inside they'd be upside down. So we're going to do the stripy side is what we want, and you're not going to see this side at all. It's not my favourite side, to be fair. So this is a great project for using paper where you only actually like one side. So yeah, I'm not bothered whether it goes, which way the stripes go. So it's just going to be how it turns out. It's going to be the luck. And we'll just see. So I haven't actually sat and worked out in the scoring of it which one is the top and which one's the bottom, but that's fine. Okay, so putting it on my scoreboard, and we're going to score, because we're going to have sort of overlapping. So you've got the edges it's all folded so that it's quite reinforced. It's quite good, so it should last. So we're going to score at 3/4, and I'm with Julie in that I struggle with scoring 3/4 or anything below that on that side. Weird. Then we're going to score at 5 and 7/8. Well, let's do that. Then we're going to do 6. That's our middle spine. So actually that's telling me it's going that way, isn't it? and then we're going to go at 11 1/4. So you've got 3/4 of an inch at each side, and then you're going down the middle. And then if you just go either side of that 6 mark, so you've got 5 7/8, 6 1/8, and that's sort of your spine, and that's what gives you, it kind of curves round a little bit. And then we're going to swizzle it round, and this is going to be even worse because I'm going to score now at 1/2 inch, but we'll get there in the end. Actually, that was even better than the previous score. Then we're going to score at 3, and then we're going to score at 8 1/2. Okay, so that is all the scoring done. So now we're going to fold. I'm going to fold and burnish all these lines apart from those 3. I'm going to do the 6 only. I'm not going to do the ones either side. I'm just going to do the 6 inch score line. There we go. The other ones are just there to help it fold round. So now we'll do the 3/4 one coming in there, and the 3/4 one coming in there. And then we've got our little 1/2 inchy ones. And then we've got that's your pocket that's going to be there on the inside. So we've got a nice little lip on there with that fold there, which sort of reinforces the pocket. And then on this one we'll just fold in down, and that is going to be glued down, and that gives you your pocket there. But obviously we've got these end bits that we're going to be folding in, folding up, and folding down. So we've got nice turned over edges, but you're going to get a bit of bulk if we do that without cutting anything off. It's going to be quite bulky, so we need to cut off some bits. So on this bit here, I'm going to cut that off. So I'm just going to take my snips and I'm just going to notch that, so that makes that easier to fold over. I've taken the bulk from that corner. That now sits nice and flat. On this side, where I haven't done that, it's not quite so flat. You'll probably have to take my word for that because you won't be able to tell. So get rid of that one. So, and again here we want to get rid of this because that's going to want to come in and fold up. So we want that corner to be neater. So a little bit like when you're covering a journal, we're going to fold it up like that, and then that gives us a nice neat corner. I don't like it that it's not going the right way, so I'm going to do that, That's a bit better. That pleases me a bit better. So I'm going to see if I just go straight across, almost how I want it. I do actually prefer that side to this side. So that's going across. So likewise here, we want to take that bulk away from the corner there. So I'm going to just take that off like that. So that, let's get rid of them little bits. That is what we look like. You see it that side. We've taken those bits out. Taking those bits out. You've taken those bits. So basically, wherever there was a score line, we've took a notch out. So these can now fold in. That will fold down like that and get stuck down. This will form the pocket, like so, and then that folds over like so. Okay, I am going to, I can't remember if I took a bit, just going to give this a good old burnish now when it's like that. So I can't remember if I took a bit out of the centre. I don't think I did. I don't think I took a bit out of the centre at all, but I might take a bit out of this one because we're not going to see that one. That feels slightly better, but we want to leave that one intact because we're going to see it, so we don't want to take any notching out of an area that we're going to see. So now we can get this all glued down where it needs to be. Now you can use whatever glue you want. We could be quick and use a tape runner because it's all on the inside. I don't mind using a tape runner. So fold all of them in. So this is just giving us a nice, neat little edge. One thing I love about this Fast Fuse, it's like the Stamp and Seal Plus. It's really strong. And once it's stuck, it's stuck. But if you just get a bit without anything stuck to it, it will just... rub off. Which is very cool, I think. I say, as this is paper to paper, I don't mind using a bit of tape for us to be quick. There we go. But I'm not going to use tape for the next bit because we are making pockets, and I don't use tape in pockets, I use wet glue in pockets because otherwise it will always make your tags stick. So I'm got a bit of Tombow, and I'm just going to run it along the edge here. So just a little bead all the way along the edge here of our notebook. I say Julie made hers out of some vintage looking paper, and it is stunning. Absolutely stunning. And you can feel, I've decorated my other one to look sort of quite pretty, but you can decorate it however you want. If you know, add more tags. Got a little bit of glue on there, which is a bit annoying. There we go. Glue rubber takes it away. I put a bit too much Tombow on there, so it oozed. It did ooze a bit. Now I am just going to put glue down there and down there. I'm not going to bother in the middle because I'm going to sew my signature in, and that will hold the middle pocket in. So put a bit of glue up there, glue up there. Just going to use my Try Baby wipe there. Get rid of that glue. Okay, so that is the bones of our notebook. So then we need to put the paper in. So I'm going to get the paper cut, and then I'll tell you how big they are. Okay, so I've got all my pages all cut out, ready and stacked up together, and these measure 10 inches by 5 1/4. I've done 8 sheets. This is 120 GSM paper, so I've got 8 strips like this left over and 8 strips like this left over. So I figured I'd use those. I'll probably make some more little notepads for journals, so they won't be wasted. So as ever, when you pile paper together like that, you end up with them sticking out. So I'm going to trim them down, and so I'm just going to move my grid mat off so that I've got my glass mat here, and you've got a bit of a glare. Let me move that off. Trouble is, when I move that out of the way, we're a little bit dark. If I move it that way, there we go. You have to put up with it. So I'm going to take a metal ruler and my knife. So make sure that we're where we want to be. I want to stick some clips in, hold them together like so. Oh, before I do that, I want to check. Yeah, because I cut these down on my trimmer, we might have a little bit of user error in the top and the bottom. I did in my practice one, my prototype, but this one looks okay. That was obviously a little bit better. I might have had my glasses on this time. So I'm going to line this up on my craft mat, making sure it's lined up straight there, and that I've got a line going through the end of the page. Got my metal ruler. I will put my glasses on again so that I can see properly. Now everything's moved, Jez. There we go. Sorry about my head. That's where I want it. That's where I want it. There we go. And then I'm just gonna keep stroking down. Now I'm taking my glasses off so I can actually see what I'm doing. Just gonna keep stroking down until I've gone through all of the sheets. There we are. A bit there. Not very neat. Because I didn't go straight down. Don't know if anybody saw what I've done. I've just done a little gash all the way up my ruler. That is why I have one with a guard, because otherwise that might have been my finger. Can you see what I did there? Don't know if that's showing up, but there's a gash all the way along there. Yeah, that's why I've got a ruler with a little divot in there. Put my finger. Just saved my fingers then. That would have been a disaster. Yes. So these really are grown-up tools, and I'm probably not grown up enough. So there we go. That's what we want. Let me bring my grid mat back so that you've not got the glare. Okay. So now that's like so. I'm going to take that off and I'm going to pop it in here. Now I'm going to just lightly bend on those other score lines that I made. Just going to use my ruler and slightly bend it a little bit. Not masses. Just slightly. So we get a bit more of a curve going on there. There we go. There we go. That's a bit better. So we've got a little bit more of a spine than what we had before. So I don't want it fully burnished, but I do want a little bit of it in there. Right, so now put that in there. That's not the centre one. Let's open the centre one, Jez. Not just a random one. So now that's nice and straight. Put that in the centre there. Make sure we've got a gap at the top and the bottom. And I'm going to sew it in. You could use a long arm stapler if you've got one of those. I do have one of those, but I just prefer to sew because I find it easy, and the way I do it, I don't have any error, so it is all good. Now I'm not going to use wax thread on this. What I'm going to use is I've got a bit of retired Blushing Bride twine, which goes with that. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to eyeball, and if you poke, you'd have seen me do this before. If you've ever watched me make a notebook or a journal, slightly bend and push, and then you're going to come out. Well, let me put my light back properly. There you go. And then it's going to come where you want it, there on that centre bit. So that's through, and then I'm just going to eyeball it about there, about what, ½ inch in. Do the same, bend it and push, and it comes out where you want it to be. And then we'll do the same here, eyeballing about ½ inch down, push, and it is where I want it to be. There we go. That's that bit done. Fast forward through this bit if you've seen me do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So 3 times the height of my book. I used embroidery thread on the other one. I bought a load of embroidery thread in the charity shop, and there was one that was just the right colour. So that's another thing you can use. Oh, we've got new baker's twine. Actually, I could have probably used that sweet sorbet, or yeah, that would have gone, wouldn't it? And then I'm not using retired stuff. And it's stripy. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Changing my mind. That was one of the reasons why I got this. So you get 5 spools. They're all the new in colours. And there are 9, 10 yards. I think that's on each one. So that's loads. Absolutely loads. So it's like 9 metres in new money. There we go. Love that. I like using baker's twine as well, but I think that's perfect because it's stripy. Yeah, liking that. So I'm going to get my big needle out. Need glasses for this. I really need my knit threader, my stitch threader for this, but I don't know where it is. Well, that took some doing. There we go. In it now. Don't tie a knot, nothing. So going in the middle because I want the tie to be on the inside. If you do outside in, the tie's on the outside. Wherever you start, that's where your tying off's going to be. In through the middle, and then back in through any hole. Doesn't matter if you go top or bottom, makes no odds. Pull it through. Make sure you're not making a new hole, you're using the hole that's there. Go back out. Always put the thread down the other way. Back out through that hole. Do not split the thread, and do not make a new hole. Go out through the hole that you made. Give them a good tug, then it will be tight. Then go back in through the hole that you didn't use last time. Pull it through. Make sure there. The end was still on the other side. Pull it through tight, and then thread that under there. So there you've got your threads on either side. We're pulling tight. We're tight there. We're tight there. And we tie a double knot. And that is it. That is all there is to it. That's your pages secure in. I do a little bow because I think they look nice. You could tie it off so that you've got just a little short one, but I think that looks nice. I'm gonna just cut off those ends. So now what I do is I just fold it over, and I just take my bone folder and I kind of give it a bit of a crease, and that's our little notebook. So if I was doing a vintage journal, this would have been tea-dyed paper probably, but it is just a notebook which could be used for whatever. They're quite thick paper, so you could journal with it. If you weren't into vintage, you could journal on this. You could add some photos, you could add tickets, you could add whatever. You could, if you wanted to, add pockets to it and things. It wasn't my intention to add pockets, although now I'm thinking about it, I've got quite a bit of this paper left over that I need to use. I could add some pockets. There we go. So that is the booklet. So I wanted to do some tags. So I used a tag each here and a tag each front and back. Now I have cut them out of Highland Heather because it matches one of the stripes, and purple's my favourite colour, but now I've got them in there, I'm not sure. So these big ones are 5 1/4 inches by 4 3/4, and they slip in there. Does depend a little bit on how thick your glue line was. There we go. And then these ones in there are 5 by 2 7/8, and again it does depend on your glue line as to whether or not you need to trim that down. That is slipping in and out lovely, and yet it wasn't so easy to slip in and out of the other one. I need to put some tadpoles on those, and I did think about decorating the edge of these pockets, so I picked out a couple of edge dies that I've got. So there's this one that's in these, do you know, that's over the title of what these are. The penned flower dies have got this border, and the scalloped contour dies have got this stitched scallop. So I cut them out, and I thought that would be quite nice at the edge of the pocket. And then I thought, but then if I've got a purple tag, they kind of meld into one, so I didn't like the look of that, and I thought I could maybe stick it a little bit down a bit, and then you've got a bit of a stripe. So I might change my mind about that and do him in a different colour, do him in white. I did think about adding that, but still there's too much going on there. I don't like it. Could add other tags. I'm just undecided. I'm really undecided about this. I could go and choose one of the other colours in this, but I wanted some continuity of colour, so I wanted to pick a colour and stick with it. So there's a bit of me that's thinking I could mat some white on that, and then that would work. So you've got a bit of white there, and you could leave the back plain, and that could just be little reminders or whatever. If this was going to be took on holiday or planning a special event, you could put all sorts in it. I just didn't want to leave the pocket empty. So that is my thoughts with that. So indecisive is actually what I am. So I'm going to take those out a sec, and I'm going to stick this border, because without that border it's like a hidden pocket you can't see, and I think it needs edging personally. So I'm going to put my glue on there and edge it. So I cut this 3/4 inch and put the border die on it, so they were both ended up the same. So I don't know why I'm turning this round, just feel it's easier. So I'm going to butt that up to the edge there. There. And we'll trim it off this side. There. And it's easy to see then where the pocket is. I'll just snip that off there, and that's edged that nicely, and I think that works. I think that works well. So I don't think that does, so I might change my mind. I could keep the purple ones in the side, but I might change those to white actually. So I'm going to cut the white ones out, and that'll probably just in time for my alarm going off to tell me my baked potatoes are ready. Okay, so I have attached that border at the back, and I've changed to basic white cards. So I cut them exactly the same size. I'm going to round the corners on them, because I just think that looks better. And they're slipping in and out a bit better. So yep, and then on these ones as well, I want to round corners on them. So I just want to add some sort of tag pull to this. I have got the retired Stampin' Up! Rounded tag pull. Pull, do you know what I mean? The rounded tag punch. But if you haven't got that, you can make them with a circle punch. So I will show you how you can do that. So obviously I've got the Highland Heather cardstock that I used, and so that won't go to waste. So I'm going to take a 1.5 inch circle punch. It's now retired, but I'm sure we've all got circle punches or dies. I mean, we've got circle dies, but I just want to do it quickly. So I'm going to cut two. So I want one for the front and one for the back. So 2 of those, and then we're going to fold them in half. I'll fold it in half. So you can do it with any size circle punch. So I've got I've got circle punches from 1/2 inch all the way up to 2.5 inches in gradients of 1/4 inch. I just love my punches. So you've got that, and then you come back in with your circle punch and just take the corner off, just a little tad on the corner like so, just sort of eyeballing it, and that is how you make your little tag like that, which will go on the end like so, and it makes a nice little pull. So easily done. If you haven't got your tag pull, so get them stuck on. You can of course put some stamping or some messages, but I just thought I'll just leave the tags blank, and they could be little reminders, things that you need to remember. So if you were using this as, you know, for maybe writing down craft projects that you've seen, there might be certain measurements that you need to know all the time. When I first started making cards for videos, the thing that I could never remember and kept having to look up was the sizes of the actual cards and the sizes of the mats. And so you could write that down in there. So, and if you were double matting, what the double mat is. So I think those tabs look really cool. There, and then they just poke out a little bit there, so that you know to give it a pull. So you could make a load of these up, have them all in different colours, ready for projects. Sort of a sitting in front of the telly sort of project, although I know that Ed would be going mental at the constant clicking of the punch. So maybe it's a in front of the telly job when you haven't got somebody in the room with you. There we go. So I think they look sweet. Now I've just seen another punch. But I'm wondering what that would look like. So I'm wondering about the oval. So if you took our oval punch, then folded that in half, and then stuffed it back in there and took the corner off. So I like to give you options. They're actually available to buy. Oh, that's quite cute. Oh, I'm liking that. It's a bit like a clamshell as well, isn't it? Is it a clamshell? So that would be a nice little pull. Oh, I wish I'd thought about that before. I'd quite like that one on them. So there we go. Another little option there. Double oval punch. These are fab as well for doing labels. Putting a little sentiment on that one and having that matted. Quick as well. Love it. So there. I can sell you that. How cool is that? Yep, we'll leave that in my little pot there on my desk of things that I find useful. So there we are. So now all we need is a sort of a closure and something on the front of the book. So we've got these new designer tags, and in it we've got this big one, and it's got slots for the ribbon, for a ribbon at each end. So I thought, well, why don't I die cut that out and see what that's like. And in true Blue Peter style, here's one I did earlier, and I think that would fit nice. So then we need to mat on the inside. Now there isn't a sort of a rectangle or a square that goes, which would have been lovely, but hey ho. So what I did was I measured. So measuring it this way, it's 2 5/8. So I thought, well, we'll go 2 1/2. Measuring it this way, it's 2 3/4. So that'll be 2 5/8. If we're just going down the 8, that's what I did there. So 2 1/2 by 2 5/8. So there we go, one I'd done earlier, and then I just rounded the corners, and that is a nice little mat in there. But we want to stamp on it. So I was looking at this and I was thinking, ironically, I'm covering up the Highland Heather bit on this, but it's okay because you can still see those bits, and then when you open up you can see the flash of purple. So I was quite happy with that. It's going to be a sort of a notebook, so I like the thought of doing just a note. There's a stamp set here, page 26 of the annual catalogue. Lovely. And there's this set here, Go To Greetings, which is going to be on my next order. And you can see those tags being used up there, which I never noticed. So here you've got just a note in 1, 2, 3 different fonts. So there's 3 different fonts in this of different sizes. And they've got happy birthday, just a note, thank you, thinking of you. And in this tiny one, you got a bonus of a hello. So I think a really, really useful set if you make cards. Really, really, I'm always sending cards with those sentiments, and just a note, which I do put on cards, but I like them for notebooks. So I haven't got this set yet, but I have got one that's retired, which is about the same size, because this is the size that it is. So it's about the same size as that one. So had I had that one, I would use it. So, but I haven't, so I'm not. So I'm going to end up going off. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of this. Now that's a little swizzled round. I want to make sure I'm doing it the right way around. Yep, that's the right way around. So I've got Highland Heather. So we're all lovely matchy-matchy. So I'm going to put just a note in the middle. And it is only a little sentiment, so I needed to put something on the rest of it. I had a little practice on a scrapbook of paper of ways that I might decorate this, and then I sort of thought, oh, if only I had a stripe stamp, and I don't, but I have got stitchery. And we've got that line of stitching there. Well, not that you can see that because that's completely under the glare there of my light. There we go. That one. And I thought, oh, I bet that'll look good. So I've mounted that. And I thought, I'm going to bring this down a little bit towards me so I can see that I'm going to stamp it. How cool's that? I'm going to stamp it few times, and I'm going to move it a little bit, and then we'll go back up that way. And then I've just thought of it, I could have stamped this in all the different colours of the stripes, but yeah, that's too late now. But that's an option. I love this stamp set. It's just handy for little bits. There we go. So that is my little stripy bit. Now I could go in and colour those bits like on here, so it, you know, it's like a full stripe, but which I do think would look nice. I do think that would look nice, and I might use my Wink Stella paintbrush, so it has a little bit of glitter. So I'm gonna take a bit of ink, take my Wink Stella, pick up, there we go, glasses on. So I just want to do it to fill this gap. So just a little hint of colour. As I could have done this with the other colours in the paper, but I did think about that too late. And that's it done. And I don't know if you can see the bit of blinginess that's in there. And that'll look very cool on there. Adding the other colours might have made it look even cooler, but I didn't, so there you go. So now we need some ribbon to go around, and we've got this lovely, what's it called, frayed ribbon, and it's got a bit of a shine to it, so I thought that works. So I'm going to thread that. It's quite a nice thick ribbon as well, which is great for the wideness of the ribbon hole here. And I want enough to go round to tie that in a little bow. So I'm going to put it around. I might need a bit more. Let's have a little look-see. Yeah, definitely need a bit more there, Jez. I do like to leave my ribbon on the reel, then I don't get so much wastage whilst I'm trying to work out how much I need. That looks better. Yep, so I'm going to cut that about there. Don't need that now. And then I can see how much I've used. I'm also going to pull it slightly more that way. So we have used, that's 16. So it's about 35 inches there, which in centimetres is about 80 centimetres. So not quite a metre. Not quite a metre. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down to the front of that, and then that will secure the ribbon in place. I'm not going to secure it round the back. It will just tie nicely. Those are even. So I'm going to put a little bit of fast fuse under here to hold the ribbon in place. There we go. And then I put glue. Put quite a bit of glue to hold this. Dot around there. Put some on the top of the ribbon as well. There we go. And now, right way up, Jez. Check there, yep. So if I was making this for a vintage project, I would be going to town on decorating. But as I'm making it as a non-vintage item, I am being a little bit more conservative with what I'm doing. Is that straight? Yeah, feels it. it's hard to judge with the eye because that the lines across the book are not straight. So I'm going to tighten my knot that way because I want my bow to lay the other way. There we go. That is my little notebook. There we go. If you do stuff it full of things, it's got room to grow. And there we have it. How cute's that? Thought that was a brilliant idea by Julie over at Camellia Crafts. I'll link it down below. I'll also link down below all the products that I've used, so you can go and buy them if you so wish. And this is Prototype, which is also cute. I say this one I added a little bit of extra decoration there with the flowers that match the flowers in the paper. So hope you like that. I hope you give it a go. I do love making notebooks, and when I have people that join my team, I tend to make them a notebook and send it to them. So I've got a couple now in my collection that can go out, although I do have in mind who I'm giving these to. All right then, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be back soon. Bye.